Do you ever want the biggest, juiciest traps, but the old timer in the gym's got you doing some ego shrugs and got your neck all jacked up? Stay tuned, 'cause I'm tell like it is.
What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Promos and tell like it is. Welcome back to the episode of Train With Me. Today, guys, we're talking traps. Big traps. Big old muscles inside of your neck. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get into it, guys. I'm gonna show you guys how to actually train traps. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what they're supposed to do, their jobs, where they're located, obviously, and then some exercises to complement training traps the most efficient and effective way. The reason why I'm not a huge advocate in traps is because a lot of people overdo traps, and when you have too big of traps, it starts to affect your neck. You start getting impingements, headaches, and all that stuff. Literally, when I was a kid, I remember the first bodybuilding magazine that I read, it was Johnny Jackson's like 10 different ways to do traps, and I literally spent the whole day doing them, and literally the next day I was just like this. I couldn't move. I was like Chris Farley. It's going, I can't move. Like, it was that bad. It was stuck there, right? Overdoing it. Now, traps are good to have in certain sports, like, you know, football, boxing, whatnot. But for the most part, really training traps specifically isn't as necessary, but they are going to be hitting a lot of different movements that you're not really understanding right now that you're actually hitting them already. So for instance, when we're doing lateral raises, the first few degrees of that movement come from your traps. So anything we're doing this way, or doing anything where you're lifting something up, your traps are actually working. Especially a lot of times you're doing any kind of rows. So like vertical rows, doing rows this way, bent over rows, your traps are working. But the reason why people don't train them right is because they really don't understand exactly what their job is. Now, first things first, your trap's job is, number one, shoulder elevation. It does this. Everyone knows how to do this. Hey, what happened? Where'd the cookies go? I don't know. Everyone knows how to do this, right? The second thing it does is it actually does scapular traction. So it does this. So if you're trying to train your traps and you want good overall developed traps, there are two specific ways you should be training traps. Number one is challenge it with a load when it comes to gravity. So basically, if I'm gonna do traps and I wanna train my traps and I want to create shoulder elevation, I see a lot of times a lot of people doing, say, Smith machine traps where they're kind of in here and then we're doing this type thing, which is fine. And it makes sense, right? Or I've seen also the same ways, people turning around and doing them this way as well too, which still makes a lot of sense. What's up, guys? A lot of you guys have watched the show but not subscribed, so do your boy a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification button as well too, so next time I put a video, you'll be the first ones to get it. And hopefully by now you guys like the video, so if you do, hit the like button. Back to the show. But the best way to train them, and the best position to train them, is literally get yourself into like, say like a hex bar, pick it up where your arms at the side of your body, and you can just shrug the weight up naturally without having anything in the way. Now, the best thing about doing these with the trap bar is, well, it's a trap bar. There you go, right? Secondly, it's gonna challenge you a lot more with having your arms a little further away from you. It's gonna challenge your traps to work that much harder.
Move your feet like this.
Or you go over and grab the dumbbells and you do them seated and then shrugging up. Your arms are in a more optimal position to run freely so you can have your traps get the most of this movement. If you want to make it harder, basically shrug out and push your arms out and let it down, or have your arms already out just like a trap bar and shrugging in. Try your best to make sure we're not doing this type thing. The whole like chicken, like this stuff is not optimal. That's why the most part people doing shrugs end up hurting their neck, is because they're doing this type thing. Just like any other movement we do, we want to make sure that we have a neutral spine. So if you're doing shrugs, make sure you're doing it the way I just said, in like maybe like a chop bar or dumbbells, and don't have your head doing all this extra stuff when you're trying to actually do the movement. Now, another way to make the traps actually work in terms of the scapular traction is basically that. A lot of times when you're doing rows, doing a couple different techniques to emphasize your scapular traction is going to help you out for the most part. So if I was doing, say, T-bar rows or dumbbell rows, or make it simple for you, chest support row, what I want to do is, when I'm here, as you can see, my traps, my mid trap is going to be working from retracting the scapula when I'm actually pulling. So if you just want to work the traps, you can just do these and pulling up, or you can just literally do a row. And then making sure that we retract the scaps at the top of the lift. It would be the same thing if you were using, say, like any kind of row machine, whether it's a cable row, a machine row, or whatever. Getting yourself in a position where we protract and we let the scaps protract and then we retract, right? We can do this alone to work the traps, or to make it even work harder is do the actual full row and squeeze, but then not letting it out here, but letting it come all the way out and then pulling in. And that's the best way to train traps. Remember, when you're trying to do any kind of exercise and you're really trying to isolate, just literally go to the point of what the muscle is actually supposed to do and then load that movement. That's the best way to train. There's no point of like trying to take these movements, trying to make it complicated, right? The traps do shoulder elevation and scapula retraction. So any movement that you can do that's gonna emphasize that movement, load it, control it, sacroposial hypertrophy, get a lot of volume, and you can grow your traps. But again, a lot of the movements you're gonna be doing that's gonna hit those traps anyway, like any type of accessory lifts when it comes to lateral raises, front raises, rear delts, bent over rows, seated rows, any rows, you're gonna hit your traps the entire time. So give that a try. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Come with that tell like it is, transparent, vulnerable truth. For coaching, johnnyshreeve.com. If you wanna know more about my coaching, guys, book yourself a 15 to 30 minute consult. At the end of the consult, I deduct off any package that you pick. Also, guys, hit the description below for those discount codes and promo codes to help save your life or change your life for the better. Make sure you guys add me on Instagram and TikTok. Send me your progress pics, your training pics, and your video clips, and I'll repost it for you, because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.